I have a video all about object pools and how you can use them to spawn and return objects in your world. Recently, I got a really good question on this video that I would like to answer here. After the Crusader asked, and I'm paraphrasing, is there a way to limit how many objects a player can spawn using this method? I'm trying to use an object pool system for an RPG world, but I don't want the player to be able to spawn in a whole lot of weapons. So how can I limit how many objects a player can spawn, or should I use a different system? Now, you could definitely write your own object pool system with Udon, and I think I read somewhere that it's just an Udon script that's built into the SDK, but you could definitely use a normal object pool system to do what you're after. However, the method to do this will change depending on how you want it to behave. To start off with, you can always get a game object array of all the objects inside a pool by using the node object_sync_get_pool. Now, to do what you're after, there are two methods I can think of off the top of my head, and my first method will work just like you explained. First, you'll need to create an int variable that says how many you have spawned, and another to say the maximum. Then all you need to do is when you go to spawn in an object, we need to check to see how many objects we have spawned. First, set your current spawned int to 0, then get a pool of all the objects using a for loop, and check every object inside the pool. First check if they are active, and then check if they are owned by the local player. If they are both active and owned by the player, then they are something that we spawned in, so we want to add 1 to our current spawned int. Once it goes through all objects, we will now have an int to say how many we have spawned. Then we can do a branch check to see if we spawned less than the maximum, and if so, then we can spawn in another game object. Now, a couple of things to note using this method. While you can normally use a game object active self to check if an object has been spawned, be careful, as other scripts can also make these objects active, even if we haven't spawned them in. Another thing to mention is while you could add or remove 1 from the current spawned int whenever we summon or return an object to the pool, checking all objects is better for catching any desyncs. This, however, is not recommended if you have more than like 50 or 100 objects in your world. A third thing to note is that if someone leaves the game and you are the instance owner, you will inherit all their objects. This will mean that all those objects are active and you are the owner of them, but you weren't the one to spawn them in. In order to account for this, you'll need to write a little bit of code so that whenever someone leaves the game, the current object pool owner will return all their game objects so they don't get inherited to the instance owner. Awesome. Now, the second method, however, is perhaps better suited to what you want. For this, you want to create a game object array variable, and this will be your summoned objects. Then, whenever you spawn in an object, add that object to the next available slot in the array. However, before you do that, check if the array is full. If so, get the first game object in the array and tell it to return to the pool. As for the other objects, move them up 1 slot in the array. Then, now that we've deleted one of the objects in the array, you'll now have a new slot for our new spawned object at the top of the array. The advantage of this method is that it will always allow you to spawn in a new object, and it'll just return the oldest object to the pool. Something to note with this method is you'll need to remove and reshuffle the game object array whenever you return an object by another means. If you don't do this, you'll have some objects that are quote-unquote summoned, but have actually already been returned to the array, and so they will count to your total amount summoned. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Feel free to like the video if you liked it, leave a comment down below if you got any questions, and feel free to check out some of my other tutorials that I have on the channel. Until next time, bye!